Inside my GPT store here, I can also create my own GPT with this create button up here. This process is a very guided process, so basically ChatGPT will tell you all the steps needed to get your first GPT started. So let's say I want to improve my lifestyle, specifically how I eat and how I feel. So I could create a nutrition expert GPT that helps people to eat healthier and feel better. Now let's get started with this first prompt. This can now take a few minutes to set up the general environment for our GPT. Now we have to decide if we like the name, so we can agree, which I'll do here. Yes, that's fine. And then ChatGPT will guide us through this process. So the next thing we need, in addition to our name of that GPT, is a profile picture for this GPT so that we can find it in the GPT store. I think this looks also good, this heart-shaped vegetable and fruit style. I like it. So let's say I like it. You see, it's a very straightforward process and we could make this a lot more complex. I just want to give you a first overview of this GPT feature. So we have the core idea, we have the name, and we have the image. Now we have to be a bit more precise about what our GPT should actually do. And here we could add something like this. So we don't want to recommend any strict diets and we don't want to exclude any food in general. We want to focus on nutrition in general and also provide some exercise recommendations to stay healthy in combination with a weekly food plan generated by the GPT. Let's see what the GPT builder makes out of this. And now we set up our GPT already. So we could test it over here, but before we do that though, we can also configure it now in this menu next to create. There we can change the name if you want to, we get a description and some instructions, which we can also change according to our needs. And we also have these conversation starters here, which here help us to eat healthier in general, to lose some weight, we need a meal plan, or why omega-3s are healthy. Another interesting option is down here, this knowledge section, because ChatGPT's knowledge is based on the data it was trained with, and of course also on specific additional tools like the web browsing feature. But if you have a unique knowledge that you want to add to your GPT, you can also upload own text files, for example, that contain information that will also be considered in your GPT. We can also implement APIs into our GPT with the Create New Action option down here. For getting started with GPTs, this is not required, therefore I'll skip this for the moment. Because now we are actually done with our GPT, and by selecting Create Now, we can define where this GPT can be found. And actually, we can publish our nutrition guide to the GPT store, category is lifestyle, and now we'll share it. Now we get a link to access our GPT, but we can also view it directly here with this button, which we'll do. And now this is our GPT that we created in a few seconds. Now let's, the first time actually, see what the GPT actually does. If I want to have a meal plan, for example, yeah, I think that's a good start. It will create this meal plan for us. It asks us some questions regarding diets, our health goals, our activity level. And this GPT now has the great advantage that this does not affect our normal conversations. So any normal chat still is the default GPT version. But if I have nutrition-specific issues, I can always refer to my nutrition guide in here and start a new conversation with it. And by the way, if I'm inside a normal chat, if we create a new one, then you can also refer to the GPTs you either created or that you added from the GPT store. So if I add this now, I can message my nutrition guide GPT and tell him, how often should I eat meat per week? So if I do that, I'm inside my normal conversation, so my normal GPT, but now I added my nutrition guide to that conversation. So this answer was created by the GPT, but I can of course also unselect the GPT and now continue my conversation with the default ChatGPT version again. Finally, you can always find your GPTs up here as mentioned. So these are your own GPTs. Below we have the GPTs from the GPT store, but also inside your user profile under My GPTs. You can find the GPTs created by you and how many chats are active with this GPT. You can also edit the GPT or delete it. And when you edit it, you come back to this menu we saw initially, where we can change our whole configuration of that GPT. And if we go back, we can also create new GPTs inside this menu. This is it with GPTs though. I hope this helped to get you started with this feature. Still, GPTs are also a plus feature only. Therefore, we want to go back to topics that are also covered with the default ChatGPT version. So soon we'll dive into prompt engineering, a very important module. Before we do that though, let's have a look at some ChatGPT alternatives.